So a man, married, kids, job, posts something on what, a social media channel. Is that the background to the story?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
And suddenly he has a knock at his residential door. And I'll let you take it from here.
Yeah. So, there was an initial visit from police, unannounced. They just turned up at his door, and they were really quite forceful in terms of how they spoke to him, and that they had sort of some serious concerns about what he'd been posting, and they wanted to have a voluntary conversation. But in saying that, they also tried to kind of make their way inside into his house, and so he that they would turn up and that they would act in that way. He wasn't entirely sure what it was that sort of would prompt that type of response from police. And when they drilled down into it, it's a number of comments that he's made online on spaces like X or Twitter.
Okay, and what did he say?
Well, he's made a number of comments about, I guess, the hot sort of topics of the day. Stuff around the promotion of LGBTQ thinking in schools particularly, so he had a response to that, and he felt that it was, very forceful, what they were doing, and that he believed that it wasn't the place for that type of advocacy, for schools and for kids to be exposed to that kind of thing. I'm looking as FSU, we don't take a stance on the substance of these things.
I understand that, but do you know what he posted? Yeah. Have you seen it yourself?
Yes, yeah. No, I've seen all the comments, yeah.
Okay.
I could go through and try and quote them to you.
Did he physically threaten anybody?
No, he hasn't made, and that's the point. He's not done anything that comes close to the criminal threshold here. He's doing stuff online which you would quite frankly hear in a few pubs around the country. Some guys sitting there having a drink, and you'd hear this kind of conversation in the corner of the pub. This is not somebody who's out there going to commit harm to hurt people. There are no specific, direct, violent threats of any kind involved in what he's putting online. It's just basically these are viewpoints that are out of favour.
He doesn't like gay people in schools trying to suggest that this is normal.
No, so what he said is that, he believes that the advocacy that the LGBTQ, community are putting out in schools has no place there, and that this is a real sort of wrong that's being done to young people. So that's the basis of his comment there, yeah.
All right, okay. And where is he? What part of the country?
He's in Auckland, yeah.
Okay. And so...
Yeah, we don't want to give away too much info because obviously he's got a fairly sensitive situation here.
I understand that, but there are 1.3 million or 1.5 million.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, sure. Yeah.
I think he's probably safe by his numbers. The police turn up at his door, and they want to have, as you say, a voluntary conversation with him about his posting. What happens after that? Okay, so that's fine. Yes. What? Okay, I've posted this on X and Twitter. Yeah. Okay. Then what happens?
So then the following day, he goes and notifies the Firearms registry and says, look, I don't have firearms in my possession anymore. Sold them to my brother-in-law, I think it was, or brother. And so he is a firearms license holder, but he does not have guns in his possession. And so he notified them. He let them know that was the case. And you see, over the sort of subsequent days, he let them know that as a result of what had happened with the police coming to his door like this, it had caused him, considerable anxiety, and so he was not able to sleep as a result of it. This is someone who does not have a prior history of mental health issues.
Who did he tell that to, Nick?
That was in his conversations with the Firearms registry, from our understanding, yeah.
Oh, okay.
And this is somebody who does not have a prior history of mental health problems. So even so, calling it a health problem is a real stretch. I mean, that's what the police have called it. But actually, it was his anxiety and his lack of sleep, having been subjected to this, police, I wouldn't call it a raid, but they turned up at his door and basically were, very heavy-handed with him. So as a result of that, of course, he notifies him and said, well, yeah, look, I am pretty stressed and anxious about what's happened, and I'm not able to sleep properly. That was then interpreted or taken by them to be, well, you have a mental health issue that is currently, needing attention. And so that was a red flag to them. Now, this is, I don't think we have to sort of explain this too much, but this is obviously somewhat of a self-fulfilling prophecy here. To use that against someone when in fact it's the police action taken in the first place which precipitates it or prompts it. That's a real problem here, and that should not be viewed as a considerable mental health issue. So that's one of the problems here.
So as a result of that, he's denied the opportunity to renew his firearm licence, or denied a firearm licence completely?
So his licence has been suspended, and
because of his mental
course he
health
can
condition.
appeal that. That's one of the reasons. The other reason is the content that he's posted online. But of course, to call it a mental health condition, he's only been to his GP and said, look, I'm having trouble sleeping. I'm quite anxious about what's happened as a result of the police coming to my door and telling me, you're in trouble. And so that becomes a second reason for the police to say, well, you don't deserve a firearms license. On top of the comments that he's made, which again, none of these comments meet the criminal threshold. They don't even meet the sort of, you could call them provocative, absolutely. And they may well be out of favour with the current zeitgeist.
No, I'm still trying to find out the conversation that occurred, the very preliminary conversation where, is it one or two police officers turn up at his house saying, we're concerned about your postings. Now, you've made...
a number of cops, yep.
Yeah, you've made... a number of cops, did you say?
Yeah.
How many?
I think from the video, just from memory, there's about two or three probably in the video that I can.
You're joking. So in Auckland, where they've got gang members out of control and ram raids and dairies being robbed and everything, 2 or 3 cops go to a particular household and get upset at somebody when they can't arrest him, and they're not arresting him for anything, but they're saying tai hawa to do with your stuff that you're posting on Twitter. Have I got that right?
Yeah. So they're saying, we want to have a conversation, we want to figure out if you're a real nutcase or not. And in doing so, and this is the thing they haven't mentioned yet, this guy, he has 4 kids who are 5 years, and under.
God,
and he's got triplets, right? He's got triplets who are toddlers. So
I see.
He and his wife are trying to manage the kids. The kids, of course, by the time the police come back on the second occasion, right? So it wasn't just one occasion, but the police come back again. Of course, this is causing a lot of distress, not just for the parents, but for the children too. And so we've got this pattern now of the police turning up and trying to give him, the once-over. So what happens is that then his wife, she's very distressed. She's sort of saying, no, you can't be just coming in here. Do you have a warrant? Now, under the Arms Act, the police, if they have suspicions and there's a firearms license holder, they do have the powers, obviously, to come in and seize and potentially search and seize firearms. But in this situation, they didn't do that, and so there's this back and forth going on. But this is where then Oranga Tamariki come into it, because you see, the kids who are distressed by the visit from the police, that report is filed, is sent back to Oranga Tamariki, who
from
then
the
say,
cops.
well, maybe we've got some, from the cops, And so OT then say, well, is there something we need to investigate here? Is there a problem with the parents? And so they get involved, and now the parents have not only to deal with the police over this firearms question, but they've now got to deal with basically the child welfare agency in this country, who are saying, well, are you actually fit parents? Are you, fit and proper to be looking after children in your home? Now, this is the kind of snowball effect. Absolutely, This is the kind of snowball effect. Of course, you'd have anxiety and the lack of sleep. This is only going to make this is your worst nightmare if you're a parent, right?
Yeah.
So what we've got here is they're being put through the ringer because he's made some comments, most of which are actually said in a joking way. And I honestly could tell you, I have seen far more provocative things said on a Netflix
take it though that I
comedy
could
special.
be. You could characterise what he said as offensive. Now.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah,
but not offensive to the point of criminality. Otherwise, presumably, he would have been arrested.